Good evening, everybody. This is the ASM Artificer. This is my very first video that I'm going to be putting on my new channel. And as you might have guessed already, since you're probably looking for ASMR, I will be focusing mostly on ASMR videos. I'm of course going to be relating them to some of my hobbies and areas of interest. Obviously, being along the more nerdier veins, DnD, Magic the Gathering, what have you. Really anything can be comics, movies. But I'm going to relate the ASMR experience to those venues. So that way, it's kind of a dual-purpose channel. Because I will be doing many reviews of products as well as I get them in, or existing products that I may have, books, etc. So, you can take from it what you want, and other people can take what they want if they're just looking for a strictly ASMR experience. So, I'll most likely be doing a mix of soft spoken as well as whispers. But I'm just going to kind of let this be pretty organic and kind of just let things kind of evolve naturally and kind of see where this goes. So, my first ASMR experience actually had to do with dice, which I thought I would show you my collection of D&D dice. I'd actually had ASMR quite a bit before. When I was younger, I used to watch teachers with chalk on the chalkboard. Some people find that sound kind of annoying, but I don't know, it used to always kind of give me the tingles. It was really nice. But in more recent history, a couple of years ago, I was going to order some new dice for my D&D campaign that I DM. And I came across a review that was very intricate. And it was at that time I discovered what ASMR, I realized the feeling I'd been having actually has a name, ASMR. Because the review is very in-depth, intricate, the way that a good ASMR review should be. So I thought it only appropriate to start off in a similar fashion. But yeah, as you'll see, most people who play D&D tend to have their own dice. I know a lot tend to use the electronic versions or ones on their cell phone. But I don't know. There's something very visceral and enjoyable about the weight of the die when you actually roll it. And I use these for many different purposes, not just D&D, but for other games and whatnot too. It's definitely a fun thing to collect, and they're not very expensive, but I guess it depends on what dice you get, but yeah, it's nice, it's real leather, no pleather here. Well, it might be, I actually don't know. It's got a nice feel, though. But nice drawstring, but go ahead and get some of these out. Hopefully this won't be too loud. I put down a little bandana here. Hopefully this won't be too loud. Oh, that wasn't so bad. Yeah. Just really like the feel of this. It's nice. But yeah, I definitely collect a lot of dice. This is actually only a small component of my actual dice that I have. I have a lot more from the past, but ones I've just ended up not enjoying as much. Kind of these have become my main dice. And my absolute favorite set these guys. These are actual metal dice. They get a really nice weight to it. See if I can get that in there. You can kind of, pretty standard looking, I suppose, but get this in here a bit. Get that a little better well lit there. But you can tell they're getting kind of dinged. You can see a lot of the surface getting dinged up. That's just from normal use and probably rattling around in the bag with the others. But in D&D, you pretty much need a full set of dice, which kind of I'll start in the low end here. Starts with your D4. Obviously, the D is just for the die, and then the number after is how many sides it has. That kind of goes without saying, but D4 is actually really interesting because it depends on how you roll it. It's the number on the top that tells you what it is, which is actually different than the way it used to be. This fun one here is my wife's. She plays with me. The numbers actually, they used to always put them on the bottom here. As you can see, but I guess they felt it was, the way it sat, it was so, I guess wasn't as easy to tell, or kind of felt kind of squashed down there. But this really picks up the light nicely. You can get a lot of fun colors in there. This is the moonstone. Very cool. But yeah, so mine's the silver. And of course we have, as I was showing you, we have the D6, which is the classic one that everybody knows about. Sometimes you get ones with the dots. This is my wife's as well. And other times you get the ones with the numbers. And they got, it's kind of interesting. They put the dot here. Usually it's to help distinguish between 6 and 9, but there's no 9 on a 6-sided die, so I'm not quite sure what they, I guess to force a habit, they put it on everything, I suppose. And I guess there's dice with different numbers inside, so. Anywho, next one up. 2 more sides for the D8. Just real nice symmetrical one here. Kind of lands a little more interesting than the other ones. And then you have your D10. Guess what? That's right. 10 sides. Might have been a little too much light there. I'm gonna kind of figure out my system here. With the lighting, this is kind of, since this is my first video, it's it'll take me a little time to get going, but this is kind of just feeling stuff out, as I was saying. I have no idea why I'm apologizing. You must be, if you're already watching the video this far in, you pretty much trusted me this long, so might as well go with it, right? And the brother or sister to the D10 is the percentile dice. And often the 2 together are referred to as percentile dice because the 2 make 1 through 100. Some groups will have actually a D100. It looks kind of like an oversized golf ball. And it does work, but I find this works just fine. So you roll and you get a 50 and 3, and you get the idea. But don't be fooled. You get double zeros and 0 that is not 0, that is the 100. It's fooled my group once or twice, like, oh no, and realizing it's actually really good. Here we D12. You'll see this a lot in dice games, just strictly dice games like Steve Jackson games, which I hope to do reviews on several of his games because me and my wife love to play a lot of his games with our friends. Does a really nice job. And then you have the mother of them all, the D20, aptly named. And the D20 is the primary, you can argue it's the primary die in Dungeons and Dragons, along with many other games, because it gives you the most play with the numbers and the percentages, and And everything, pretty much you're rolling this all the time. But the other dice being more about damage and things like that. But yeah, this main one is, it's my favorite one, because when you roll it, it's just, yeah, maybe a little too loud for this venue, but you can probably see why I enjoy it. And of course, I had to follow that up with my copper set. I actually do 3 versions that I know of right now. It's this one along with a brass set, well, gold, but it's essentially brass. But you can see this one's pretty. You can see the textures there. It's pretty dinged up. They just have a really good weight to them. One individual set of them costs about, by a set I mean the ones I've just gone over with you, a set of 7. These typically, this metal set, I think went for around $40, I want to say, but most plastic sets generally only go for, like $70, they're not too bad, but I thought I'd splurge or play enough and just enjoy having them enough that was worth it. And my wife's set, which I showed you earlier, she likes the moonstone, she likes the sparklies. So I'm sure many women can agree with. But they are cool, though, from a light, the way it catches the light, it's really, really nifty. That was a good set for her. Worked out really well. She uses a special set of D6s to roll her characters. Glittery as well. You roll 4 D6s when making a character. Maybe I'll go into more detail about D&D specifically, but I'll keep this with the dice right now. And let's get some boxcars. And usually higher numbers are better in D&D, but that's usually in a lot of dice games. Looks like I did mix in some Magic the Gathering life counters. These are actually not used in D&D, or shouldn't be at least. These are for, if you, I'm sure some people know Magic the Gathering. It's a pretty popular card game, right up there with, Yu-Gi-Oh! And several others, but you have a life total which happens to start at 20, and since it's 20-sided die, it worked out for them, but this is not weighted homogeneously, so if you were to roll this, it is not accurate, it's not balanced the way these are balanced, so you can't rely on it for that, but it's good for, keeping track of other things, monster life totals, or when you play Magic the Gathering, so I'll set those aside. Then I have a few, like I said, D20s are what you roll the most. So I have, some people are superstitious, but when a die starts rolling very poorly, they sometimes will jump to other ones, and that's what these are for. Change the fates, as it were, but let's see, get that in focus there. But yeah, that looks really cool, those clear ones. Kind of see, get the light in there, but I don't know, these are kind of standard, but very cool. Got a lot of different colors. And there's our marbled and textured ones. And most of my friends roll particular D20s with particular characters on top of that, so kind of interesting. And then being the DM, they usually give me, this one's actually called the pumpkin die for obvious reasons, but oh, look at matches. But, they give this to me if I'm rolling too well, because it tends to roll poorly, I guess, sometimes. And they give me a lot of ugly dice to roll, because they want the monsters to do poorly, but yeah, so that is my dice collection. So I'm not sure how ASMR, my first ASMR video actually is, being a little more nervous to kind of go into this, but kind of find my muse as I continue going in, and hopefully we'll get a few comments from anyone who has decided to burn about 15 minutes and watch this up to this point. But I am open, like many ASMR artists, to to doing videos on various things. But if there's anything you'd prefer, me chewing gum while I do this, or more tapping, or whatever triggers you guys might like to hear, I would love to hear that. And my angle, if you do want to, I can talk more about lovely nerd-related things, as I am prone to do. But I do have a wide array of interests, so I might go beyond my initial mission statement, as it were. But anywho, thank you for watching. I don't expect any subscriptions whatsoever to start. I feel like I need to put a few videos on, give you guys a chance to see what I'm all about, and we'll see then. But for now, I wouldn't mind any likes if you enjoyed the video, and yeah, if you have any suggestions or just want to say hey, I of course welcome that. But alright, well, thanks for coming and sharing this